I'm Brian LaPointe. I'm with a company called ARX, and we make a product that's known as CoSign, and it's a digital signature solution. And it's a best-of-breed solution integrating in with Alfresco. So I have a few slides that I'm going to cover today. And just to get to the agenda real quick here, let me put these down. Just kind of go over some high levels why people use digital signatures, and then kind of where I always have to do a little educational piece with any customers, any of our users, is what's the difference between an electronic signature and a digital signature. So we're going to kind of diffuse that, and then I'm just going to show you how it works. I got some neat little demos. We'll sign a whole bunch of documents. You know, we'll sign them on a desktop. We'll sign different file formats. We'll sign right within Alfresco. We'll do a workflow within Alfresco, things like that to give you, it'll give you a real good sense. And then we'll inspect these documents to see what the signatures look like after they're signed. So that'll give you a view into the legality of it and why it's the digital signatures are known to be the strongest. So from the digital disruption, I think it comes down to paperless. You hear it all. Some people think, oh, we're already past that phase. They talked about it in the keynote yesterday afternoon. It's still there. It depends on where it is in the organization. So from our perspective, we're always looking at there's so much paper that's still being printed to collect signatures. And there's a lot of time and inefficiencies in that. So as far as this digital disruption, you see where Alfresco is the DM system, the ECM system, whatever new acronym they come up for it down the roads. Where CoSign, and it's the workflow piece, we kind of are the last mile of that, applying the digital signature. And so when you're trying to go purely digital, think about it in your organization. You're still printing to sign to scan. And I've been in the business, I've worked at a variety of different ECM companies over my career. Even when I first got into it, I was like wondering, when is this going to be, doesn't it just work? When I joined an ECM company like back in the early 2000s and stuff, I thought it would just be there. Oh no, it's some field where I have to click and, but you can't send it to anybody, right? What happens when you approve a field in a workflow and then you want to send that to outside the org? You can't. No one can verify the signature. So CoSign handles that and helps you solve and automate this, create the true digital disruption. And there's a lot of efficiencies. I have ROIs. I can do studies. We can analyze it. But it's just self-evident, I think, that paper is very expensive. And just a couple of quotes. I love Pfizer. It costs them $30 to collect a wet signature. It's like a cable bill, right? You can get cable for a month, you can get Netflix for a month, or you can collect a signature. Which one has more value, right? So why wouldn't you automate that? And what we find, we did a survey with AIM a couple of years ago. This is kind of my last high-level stuff here. But it's a fast ROI when you implement just signature technology. And the reason is the implementation is super fast. There's not a lot of professional services into it. And then it's like taking everyone's pen away and letting them sign off. And we see people when they implement CoSign, seeing their ROI in the first year, some within even sooner. Okay? But you get it from accelerating your processes, process velocity. So you have workflows going through transaction processing. If it takes you 2 days to do something, now you can do it in a day. You're increasing that velocity of the process, and you're always looking to do that. And wherever you can put that into, and it's sometimes you're waiting for things. It's just the time of it. That the effort, the scanning, and all those hard costs can add up in your organization and so forth. All where signatures need to be collected, right? So electronic signatures. Anything is essentially electronic signature, okay? That's what the difference between electronic and digital. So in 1999, 2000, we've heard of legislation like the eSign Act, UEDA at the state level is another one. And it's what made electronic documents legal. So in the document management space, electronic documents are legal, but it also made signatures legal back then. So when I go to the grocery store and I sign on an e-pad, that's an electronic signature, it's legal. When I'm on a website and I'm clicking I accept, that's a legal, it's legal, electronic signature. If I want to paste my graphical signature onto my Word document, convert it to a PDF because I think it's unalterable now, and then send that out, it's actually legal. There's nothing illegal about it. But the onus is on you to have the proper controls to prove who signed it and when they signed it, and that nothing has changed since they signed it. So it's legal as long as you have these controls around it. That's why in a closed system, like if you just did a workflow in Alfresco and you had a checkbox and you had an audit trail behind it, it's kind of a closed system at that point. It's a legal signature that can, approval process or a signature can occur. Okay? But what it's not is very portable. You know, if you needed to send that out to a regulator, you know, you can't just send it out. They'd have to log in and see it in Alfresco or any ECM system. Or think about it, you use audit trail logs to prove people did stuff. What happens, Alfresco's in the business of converting everyone, like from a documentum system to Alfresco is a very common flow you see in these days, right? One of the hardest things is thinking about those workflows with all that audit trail data to convert to a new system. You know, the portability of what that's behind it, the legality is challenging when you all that audit trail data and stuff like that. With a digital signature, everything that you need is embedded in the document. So the 3 I's here, the identity of the document of the person who signed it is embedded in the document as a digital certificate. You know, we talk about intent or by way of a reason code. So you can actually enter your intent of why you're signing gets embedded into the document itself. And there's an integrity check. I'm representing it here, you know, green check marks. Adobe uses a green check mark when a document is the integrity is there. Red X, you'll see, or something like that says, hey, this thing has been altered. So it's been tampered with or it's been altered, so maybe you probably shouldn't trust. Something's changed since the person signed the document. And a digital signature is based on industry standards you know, that are vetted for security and consistency by organizations like NIST, ETSI's the European ISO. I know we have a bit of a worldwide audience at the Alfresco conference here. There'll be one in London. So digital signature is also more widely used outside the United States. Okay? So the difference is it's a standard-based, certificate-based. It comes with certificates, private and public keys. You know, it takes a hash of the document, and this stuff all gets embedded in the document itself. It's very different than what these electronic signature services are doing out there. Those are more electronic signatures. Okay, if you're using something like Adobe has their CoSign service, it's a hosted service. You send the document to them, it goes through a process. It does do a little bit of an encryption, but it's system signing it by Adobe. It's not an individual certificate. So the binding of the identity of the signer to the document is not as strong as a true digital signature implementation. So it's a little bit of a nuance. And so if you're in a regulated industry like the federal government or FDA life science, SLG, state and local government, that's why they don't use it there. Because they want to know 15, 20, 30 years from now who signed it, nothing's changed, and yada, yada, yada from there. Okay? So if you decide that you think the digital signature is the way you want to go, you have options. The applications give you the ability to do self-signing, you know, self-sign individual certificates. But for the enterprise, I would just say it's a non-starter because you can't really prove the identity of the person who did it. It will encrypt the file, but I could sign up as any of you with a Gmail account and sign it. And then send that document out, and you know, it's not really, again, who signed it is in question when you do that. So that the other side is you would go to a third-party certificate authority. These are people like Entrust, VeriSign. They'll sell you individual certificates. You might get them on a USB key or something like that, and or a smart card device, or you download it from their website. However, it's a certificate. And it works out. It'll work with the applications, but it's a very decentralized approach. And so if you have thousands of users in your enterprise, you're chasing these things around, and you have to renew them on an annual basis, and you know, there's not a lot of management to it. So where CoSign comes in, and what it does is it offers a self-managed organizational CA, Certificate Authority. So with CoSign, we can turn your organization into the CA, and you manage it yourself. And what it brings to the table is it manages your certificates and keys, your public and private keys for you. It ties in with your user management system that you already have in place. That could be an LDAP, your Active Directory. CoSign itself gives you its own directory independent mode. If you want, some people do use our own instead of tying it in and managing it in our own system. And that's where you're doing your identity proofing on your own employees. Okay, so your Active Directory and your HR policies and procedures tend to be stronger anyways when you know who your employees are when you sign them up. And when they leave the organization, it gives you a quick way to offboard them from the organization. To take them out of the, when you take them out of AD, it removes their signing credentials. If you had given them a certificate on a USB key, that's just another thing you have to chase down, right? Like when you try to get their laptop back, their phone back, a USB key back, and all that stuff. This is all automated. And then lastly, and this is why we're here at an Alfresco conference, is when you do this approach, you get a lot more advanced signing functionality. So I'll show you my Alfresco connector. But, so that's CoSign. It's a centralized management. It's actually, for on-prem, it's a centralized appliance. That's what our FIPS certified device looks like, FIPS 140-2 level 3. So it's very high. So we send it in for certification. And the US, we have many deployments in the federal government, and that's a main requirement. Like at the US courts, is a customer of, so the judges use CoSign for signing off on things at the federal court level. So all that legality, that's kind of my thing to say. If the courts are using it, there's other examples of that too. A lot of courts that use us. But it's all tested and it's very secure, so all your keys are stored here in a very secure media. This is like a big smart card. It's an HSM, something like that. So again, integrates in Active Directory. The thing in implementation is, a lot of times our basic implementation is 3 hours because it's power, network, configured to Active Directory, and then you can start signing documents. And then the training level of signing is not that hard. I'll show you. It's not like you're rolling out a major workflow implementation or something like that. Independently verifiable signatures, that's the portability. I'm going to show you that too. Once you sign a document with a digital signature like CoSign, you don't need our software to verify the signature anymore. So if I sign a PDF and send it to you, you open it up in a free Adobe Reader, you can verify that it was me that signed the document. You're not tied to my network, my machine, or anything like that. With a lot of these electronic signature services, you're tied to their website. So if that company goes out of business or whatever, you're always tied to them for verification. Signing flexibility. People are very particular about how their signature looks when they sign a document. And we've been doing this for a long time, so we work with the people who are particular. So this is just one way I present myself in kind of a robust way. It's my graphical signature, and then I display different bits of metadata. And this is not the certificate. This is just what's on the front of the document. So if they print it out, it's there and so forth. The certificate is embedded. But my name, my title, that kind of helps to say, I'm Brian LaPointe. I'm the vice president at this company. I approve this document. Why did I sign it? Because I approve this stuff. You can have other reason codes, and that helps to fight against what was the intent. So part of policy and procedure, we have clients in regulated industries. I approve this according to the following regulation, or something like that. Date and time. You don't have to display this stuff. It could be just the graphical signature. Some people do that. Maybe I want the graphical signature up top, the metadata down below. People like to format this. They may want their engineering stamp or my county seal or something else in there. Okay? We give you the ability with our software to prep the documents to put signature fields very quickly into it. This is a very useful tool. You'll be able to, an NDA comes in, or there's some document, and I fill it all the time, and you don't want to put fields into it. You want to put signature fields. So we have our tool just on the fly makes signature fields for you very easily so that you can prep it. And then when you send it to somebody, people will know where to sign the document. Other things, batch signing, if you have auto invoicing, or even like I have a client that's the Virginia Supreme Court. One of the things they just use us for batch signing is everything coming in, they just basically system sign it so that nothing can get altered. They had a situation where people were going into court judge orders and tampering with them because they had some archaic ECM system. So you can go in the back end, grab the TIFF, boom, put another one in. So they got in trouble for that. So then everything that gets put into the system now gets system signed. So it's encrypted. So if anything ever changes on it, it'll be invalidated. And there's a thick and thin client. And so the Alfresco connector is very thin, obviously, the way it works. But then when you have a centralized approach, you can get APIs. So now you can integrate signature functionality into anywhere in your enterprise. Okay? So you might have your own portal environment of some kind, and you're collaborating, and you want to bring people together, and one of the collaboration points is signature. You know, you can just take our APIs if you want. If we don't have a ready-made connector, or you don't like the, you know, you need some advanced functionality, you would just do it that way. So I'll show you this stuff too, but I'm signing. I basically right-click on a PDF, opens it up in my viewer. I have my graphical signatures right here. You know, I have a management, so I could have multiple signatures here to pick from, and I can apply it very easy. Enter my reason code, enter my title, puts the signature field that quick into a document. So it's a no-brainer, no training required. You know, if you want to have multi-factor authentication, we've done that with many of our clients and stuff like that. If you have RSA tokens, or, you know, typically it's AD credentials and stuff like that is the most common way that we do it right now. Could do biometrics. But at the end of the day, after the document's been signed, this is just a document opened up in Adobe Reader. You see the signature block here. It's a standard digital signature implementation. There's your certificate, and in the upper left-hand corner, you see the green check mark. That's Adobe Reader. That's just verifying the signature because it's a standard implementation. So no matter where this document travels to, people can rely on it and take action on it. They don't have to click here and go back to a third-party website, you know, and so forth. So that's one of the big advantages is that portability of digital signatures, and that's what CoSign does. So we sign a variety of file formats, Microsoft Word, you know, write in Word, okay? We're not converting Word to PDF like all the other systems would do, right? So if I'm talking to, so I know you guys go back and you're working with all your constituents in your companies. So when I say Word because if I'm talking to the legal department, they make everything in Word. And what are they doing right now? They're pasting in their graphical signature into the Word document, converting it to PDF. Now they have two versions, Word and PDF, and they're sending the PDF out. The way you want it to work is just I write the correspondence in Word and I apply my signature and be done. So that alone is a big win. Then if I'm talking to the accounting office, the CFO, they live in spreadsheets. Okay? The ability to just collect signatures like my timesheet or my expense report or my income statements and stuff like that. I just want to route the Excel spreadsheet through email around and collect multiple signatures in an Excel spreadsheet. That gets people's attention if I'm just sitting in a room talking to people about, you think signatures is so simple and there's so much behind it. PDF, of course, people want to sign PDF. We sign InfoPath forms. I don't know why we sign PowerPoint, just because it's part of the Office suite and it just shows up, but I haven't seen anyone needing to sign. But it could be engineering documents or something in a PowerPoint. AutoCAD, in other formats. And then anything that's a Windows format, I can print it to CoSign. Okay, so it basically shows up in through a print drive, print to CoSign. It will convert to PDF, apply a signature, and then it'll be a finished PDF document. Yes?
A quick question on this thing. I saw that XML at the end.
We can sign anything.
And what if somebody just opens and changes something in the Excel?
It'll invalidate it. Yeah, we don't encrypt it so you can't change it. We just can sign. We can sign field data, XML files. So it takes a hash of it, and we can sign it. We might have to customize some of that stuff, but we can sign any data format. So sometimes in e-forms, that's what we'll be doing. We could do form fields. A little more. It's not as out of the box. You got to look at how you're going to verify on form. How can you tell it was signed, right? So that we have to figure out what the verification step would be. So really, our integration of CoSign, is with the file formats themselves. And then from there, we build up layers, and then people want to live in the applications they're working in, too. So the ECM systems like Alfresco. So we have a fabulous connector for Alfresco, and I'll show you how that looks. But so you could, and we do work with a few others, too. So if you have multiple ECMs in your environment, we can one CoSign system, centralized Active Directory, for all your signatures across the enterprise. You don't need a separate signature process for every different system you may have in your enterprise. That's kind of what we bring to the table. So let's just show how it works. I got kind of 3 scenarios here, so I'll talk through it. So signing just straight up a purchase requisition, a legal correspondence, and a timesheet. I could have also said signing a PDF, signing a Word document, signing an Excel spreadsheet. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm saying there. And then I'll take you through Alfresco. And then there's also use cases out there where you're in your organization, and I like to send a document to someone else to sign that's outside of my organization, and I really just want to collect a signature from you. And that's it. I know exactly. I got one release form. I don't even want to talk to you. I'll send an email to you. Click here, and be done. It applies it, and then I get the document back automatically. And then I can have it ingested into Alfresco for records management and safekeeping. Right? I can show you that too. I'll show you the Alfresco connector rather than just go through a PowerPoint, right? Okay. So yeah, I have a library of documents. So this is just sitting on my desktop, like everyone else. You guys have documents everywhere, right? So one first use case is I just want to sign a PO. So right in the menu, it's a thick client implementation at this point. We provide the software to you. I can open it up in my client software here. You can see if I had multiple fields, they would display right here, and it gives me some stuff here. But you see the field down here, I already embedded a signature field in this document for demo purposes. And so it's as easy as double-clicking on the field. And I'm running off my CoSign Cloud service. I have a CoSign Cloud service. So the desktop software and the documents on my laptop, the CoSign system, those appliances are hosted somewhere, okay? So those graphical signatures are being pulled from that appliance. And so I have multiple signatures in there, so I can just pick the one I want to apply. Even if you wanted a fonted graphical, that's just the font of my name. I have a logo behind that, if you see that. It's just blue for whatever, but this is the one I usually use. I can enter an approval code, your title, but signing is as easy as that, okay? If I didn't have a signature field in a document, you can just place a signature field into the document, as simple as that, right? Initials, I'll go with blue just so you can contrast it nice. So now I've signed a document. If I'll save this document, and I'm going to open it up in Adobe Reader. There's 2 signatures in it, as you saw, right? By default, I have it saved to a folder here, so I can always find it and not search around my desktop too fast. But I just signed it. In the upper left-hand corner is the first thing I look for. That's the integrity check. You know, when I did the signing, you didn't see it. It was this quick happening, but it's taking a hash of it, generating the digital signature on the CoSign appliance, and then embedding the certificate into the document, right? And there's the 2 signatures that I just signed. And then to inspect them further, I can just hover over them. You can even see right here, digitally signed by CoSign, a valid signature, saying that it's valid as opposed to invalid. The identity right here, Brian LaPointe at arx.com. Standard implementation of digital signatures. Not going to look any different if you opened it up with an Adobe cert or anything like that. What? The document never left my computer right here. When I went to sign, it took a hash of it, and that mathematical calculation went to the CoSign appliance, and it returned me the certificate embedded in the document. So that's the one thing that's major difference between, and so whether this thing's running on-prem or in my cloud, it's the same thing. You keep control of your content. So no personal information, health information, or any of that. Like when you send a document through a cloud service, say there was a demo yesterday with DocuSign, that document is leaving your domain and going to someone else's. And then you might get it back. And even when you get it back, it doesn't mean it's not still there as a copy, right? So this doesn't leave. You keep control of this situation right here. And again, in the certificate, this is just giving you the details. And if I want to look specifically at the signer's certificate right here, it's coming off my CoSign Cloud, issued by, we call it CoSign Cloud. That's where it's coming from. I'm Brian LaPointe. Standard implementation, according to the way it's supposed to be. Does that make sense? I know I've said it a few times, but it seems that that's the key thing. That's what makes it portable, because this is now, so enough of the information to make this, the audit trail data, right? Enough audit trail data is in the document to make it a legal document. You know, I know who signed it, I know why they signed it, I know when they signed it, and I know nothing has changed since they signed it. So it's the strongest form of signature. Is the idea here. You know, when you just get an email from an e-signature, you don't always know who signed it, right? So that's that, and so you can see how easy that is. And if I was in Microsoft Word, again, this is a thick client. We install in the Office suite in the ribbon. Not an unusual thing for a lawyer to have plugins in their office that they have other plugins for scrubbing the documents and stuff like that. But you know, we're deployed right here in the ribbon as CoSign. But I also have a correspondence, and this is a typical thing. I'm sending a letter to someone. Please don't do that anymore, otherwise I'm going to sue you. Okay? It's kind of what they do, and it's $1,000 to hire your lawyer to write that letter, right? But I can apply a signature field. This one just happens to have one in there for demo purposes. It's the same thing. I pull up I pick my signature, and I apply it. It's now signed. You see the green check. Yes, you can get rid of the CoSign logo if you want. You could put your own graphical logo behind you if you really wanted to. If I made a change, it's easy to change a Word document in a demo. So I'll change this document, the date from 2014 to 2015, you know, one character. Go back and revalidate the document. So you know something's changed. So that's how we sign. So you can sign right in Microsoft Word.
Could you have printed that without revalidating?
I don't know.
Got to get a piece of paper and have a check.
It would print, yeah, but if it printed out, the change wouldn't be there, right? Or, yeah, I guess you're right, it would be there. I don't know, I think I'd have to test it, you know what I mean? If I went, yeah, or Microsoft Word, it's part of the Microsoft implementation of it, or it has to be saved before you print or something like that, so. And you know, the other thing too is we can do sectional signing. When you get into the Office suite, say, if I put a page break, I can sign like a range. You know, so if I just want to, I don't know if this one tells me here, but the settings, I can get funkier too. So I have functionality in Word. So sometimes people want to have a sign-off sheet, or you know, I sign this section here. I can enter so I can send this around and keep collecting comments and stuff like that. So sometimes you have a form in Word that I only want to sign off on section 1, and then it's routed to you. You sign off on section 2, send it to you, enter your comments, you know, that type of thing. So we see that happening in different industries and so forth. So that's Excel. Oh, that's Word. So Excel is the same thing. The difference in Excel, we get it works the same way, right? This is my timesheet example, right? Nice little document, not too, you know, some people do this, or it could be expense report. But why do I need to convert this to PDF? Why can't I just sign right within, right? The advanced functionality here is I could be the CFO, I create the spreadsheet, I can sign off on the formulas only, and then route it to my director of finance to fill in the rest of the data, and then I can collect a second signature on it. So you can build out more complex flows right within your document. You know, so you already have this software deployed. You have email, you have Office, it just gives them more productivity tools is what you're doing there, and then they can kind of come up with their own smart workflows, like they were talking about. So I think you guys got that. I think for time, I don't know how we're doing here, but I wanted to show off the Alfresco stuff, which is pretty neat, right? So CoSign, digital signing within an Alfresco environment. So I have a document library right here. I put in a couple documents and so forth. So we have a PO right here. There's actually a signature field in the document. The red X is detecting that over there. That's actually part of the integration. So it's saying through the integration. By the way, this integration was developed by an SI partner that's exhibiting here today at Zazie. You can see their logo up in the left-hand corner. So what it is, we make this digital signature engine, and then we have partners that know the other environments far better than us, and you know, to know that you can, whoops, put that there, right? I mean, unless we were really experts, these are the subtle little features that you put in. That's why we work with partners like that, because they know how to do it better than we do. And we know the digital signature side, so that's why that works. I'll try not to trip again. But sign with CoSign right within the menu. If it was already signed, I could also look to verify the signature, take the step to verify it too. So sign and verify are the two CoSign features that are in the action menu right there. So it's just sign. So it was, yeah, I have to re-log in. And I'm borrowing a password from my engineer, y'all. I'll have to go through that signing feature again, but I had it open obviously too long. So it pops up the document. Hopefully it comes up quick enough in my demo environment here. I gotta authenticate myself in right now. And for my demo account, because I'm kind of running on a demo environment here, guys. So it's taking the document, it's putting it into our web agent software right now, okay? And so this is our signing ceremony. You know, we bring people together, very user-friendly interface. It has a signature field already pre-embedded. It's right here. So all the user has to do is sign here. If it didn't have one, then you could add one on the fly if that was the workflow. But, and you can see I have in a web interface, and this is mobile friendly too when you come here. So this will work, at least our piece and Alfresco obviously. You know, if you have Safari on your iPad, this is going to work for you, okay? Or Chrome on a you know, Android tablet or something like that, right? So I'm going to click the, I'm logged in as John Miller for this demo, guys. Screen resolution is killing me right now, but I'll just type a title and then apply. So now it's doing the hash of the document, applying the digital signature. It's embedding a certificate into the document now. 1, 2, 3. It'll get there in a minute.
It doesn't need any client-side installation.
No client-side installation with it. This is true, yeah, thin client. So the signature is now here. You know, I can inspect it once it's signed in this interface real quick if I wanted to. It'll pull up the details of the certificate, that it's valid, when it was signed, what the certificate is right here. Because I'm not opening it up in Reader. I'm just checking the PDF document, and I'm pulling those details and presenting them to, you know, as they call details, right? And I signed it using, I had a different appliance that I hit. It was my trial server. As before, I signed with my CoSign cloud account. So it's just, you know, this would, if it was your organization, it might be Azusa CA Authority or something like that if you wanted. So when I click done, it's just going to put it back into Alfresco. So you never leave the Alfresco environment. I never sent the document to another cloud provider or anything like that, right? So now it's in. See the green check mark on the document now changed too? So it's detecting that. And if I was to open it up in the Alfresco viewer, it's going to pull up the PDF. Everyone's familiar with that, right? As I scroll down here in the properties, it actually gives you signature details. So again, it's the status is complete. It was signed. The field name, that signature field, I got 5 minutes, was purchasing manager, John Miller signed, date and time, signature is valid. And it also shows right here the version history. So version 1, version 2. This is signed. So that's all. That's what the integration. That's what the connectors bring. That's another bit that it's bringing to the table. I got 5 minutes. I want to show you something kind of neat with the workflow. I have an NDA. There's an NDA right here. And typical scenario is I get them. I'm a sales guy, right? So these things get sent to me all the time by you, right? But I can't sign it, right? So I need to start a workflow to send it to my angry reviewer who never wants to sign the NDA. So instead of having to call them or write them an email, I can just task them, right? This is beautiful, right? I wish I had this in my own company. So there's a couple, I don't know what all these workflows do. I know this one works for me, right? You can put a note, please sign. I can set my due date. You guys are probably more familiar with workflow than me. Priority, select my author. I'm going to send it to myself. I'm basically logged in as this gentleman right now. He's one of my engineers at my company. There's the document. And it's smart enough, too, to know that either I have, in this NDA, there's 2 signature fields already embedded, right? I set it up. So it's reading the title of that signature field. So if you knew the person's name or their title, I can designate which field I want him to sign. So I want my boss to sign ABC Vice President as opposed to DEF Vice President, so that there's no question of where he needs to sign. Okay, so he's going to sign a specific field location. So what this is doing is detecting that this document has signature fields in there and which one to sign. So another little bit of advanced logic to help you in your workflows. This comes up all the time when you're doing workflow with signature automation. It's not so much the signing, but the putting the signature fields into the document. Those are 2 of the elements you need to think about. And this, you can see how it's one way it's handling it here. And then start the workflow. And what I think that's neat about Alfresco, I come back to my dashboard, and you can see it as a task. Oops. You can see it as a task in the bottom left. I was messing around with it yesterday. So today's the 26th. It says, please sign this document. September 26th, I think that's when it's due. Sign task not yet started, right? So if I click this task, I come in. You know, I can mess around with this. I can say it's in progress. You know, I can say what I want to say here. But right here, I have the sign button. So now I get a task. This was sent to me as a task. Boom, sign here. Presents the document for me to sign. Anything I needed in that opening screen's there. I should be signing as someone else in a real demo, but this is just the username that I have set up for this today. See how I can streamline that? All within Alfresco, you can do your workflows this way and make a signing process very seamless. Presents the NDA to me. There's that signature field, and this is what I was saying. It could have been the one on the left or the one on the right, but I knew it was the one I want. Just sign the one on the left and be done, and I collect your signature. And, you know, it's a no-brainer at this point. And I can select John Miller. I got to give a title. So you guys kind of, and then be done. And then it's going to complete the task within, when I save and close, it's just completing the task in there, right? See how powerful that is? So I only have a few minutes left, and if there's any questions from you guys or anything you want me to go over again or review or take a look at. So we sign Word, PDF, Excel, right within the Alfresco environment, all web-based, mobile-friendly. You know, it's a centralized system, the CoSign system. APIs. There's I didn't do if I wanted to send a document to somebody, I have this we have a web portal solution. We actually offer it as a SaaS or on-prem. Basically lets you upload a document to the system. And you could upload it, and then it'll send it out to, you can send it, if I wanted to send this NDA outside the company now, maybe that NDA that was signed internally, I want to send out and collect a signature from somebody. I upload it here, and it's as easy as if I enter the person's name and the email address right here, it's going to enroll them in the CoSign system to give them a signing credential. It's going to send them an email that lets them click a link, takes them to the document. You saw the signing interface already. It'll allow them just, boom, same thing outside of Alfresco, right? You know, just to collect a signature on a document. And then from there, I can have, through my REST API, I can just have the stuff automatically sent back into Alfresco when it's done. Actually, from the Alfresco workflow, I could have had a step that said, once this is signed internally, here's the person who it needs to go to. It would automatically send it through this portal system out. And then when it was signed, it would automatically come back in. You would just have to script the connecting pieces there. See, so that's how you can have internal signers and external signers. But the thing is that this is just the UI I'm showing you here, but when I put the person's name in there, I'm enrolling them in and give them a one-time signing credential. Don't worry about the graphical signature on these people I don't really know or are not in front of me. I'll just use a fonted script of their name. Okay, that's what will show up on the document. It'll be a certificate behind the scenes. I'm issuing signing credentials. It'll encrypt the document. And you can sign, by the way, you can sign a document multiple times. People always ask me that. How many times can you? There's no practical limit to signing a document with digital signatures. You can have multiple signatures. There's no practical limit, I say that, because I'm sure there is some theoretical limit.
But won't applying a signature invalidate my previous signature?
Nope. No, the standard doesn't do that.
But you'll see multiple versions.
You'll see multiple signatures, yeah, and then in Adobe you could, yeah.
Alfresco, you'll see.
Yep. Well, if you're signing, yeah, if you're signing in Alfresco, you'll see it. So that's the other thing. And then there's a developer portal with CoSign too that gives it's free. You can that's the signing engine for CoSign, the digital. When you sign up for the account, it gives you access to one, and then all the API documentation. So if you wanted to integrate this differently within Alfresco or some other environment, the documentation is all here. So when you saw that signing interface where you were actually signing the document, that's provided to you as a web service, right? And so you would just call that. That's already there for you. So we control all that. And so if you want any access Stack Overflow for developers, they answer the questions here. Our developer support is here. So
Customers would have the choice to actually buy the hardware internally
or consume us through the cloud, yeah. Yeah. Most of our stuff at the enterprise, and which is most of our business, is an on-prem, and they buy the equipment. Either we have that FIPS certified appliance, or we have a lower cost IBM 1U rack mountable appliance that's a little more streamlined. At the federal government, they really like it. There's no difference in functionality. It's the physical case that we send for certification through the JITC and the FIPS certification. And we send these things out to be tested.
What kind of licensing models do you have?
So it's a traditional licensing model. You buy CoSign. And then there's an annual maintenance that's on top of it. So it's perpetual. So there's a server cost. You buy the servers, and then you buy the users. So it's $140 is the starter license for one user. Yep. And yeah. There's a reseller program. Yep. No, it goes up. I was kidding. Of course not. Yeah, but so the standard, the IBM is like a $9,000 server, and it's $140 a user, and it's 20% maintenance. It's a simple model. Things become add-ons, like the Alfresco connector is an add-on, and that's provided. Actually, Zazie provides that. Yep. So you can see the connect flow is very impressive. It's very impressive. You see the power of the workflow. But $9,000 and then $140 a user. Is that what you asked? Yeah.
9K per box.
Yeah. Yeah. No, perpetual. Then it's 20% annual. And so that is support and maintenance even on the hardware too. So if you need we fix the appliances if it goes down, so I'll service that. And then if you had a lot of users, we have people operating us in a high availability and a load balance way. We basically put two appliances up. They synchronize with each other. And so if one goes down, the other one runs. And if you have we can load balance if we need to. But we're not doing that much. We're doing the cryptographic processing of the digital signature. But as you can see, we're not moving a document over there. We're not processing documents like a DM, like the Alfresco system. There's a lot more CPU cycles hitting a DM system with workflow and stuff, right? So it can sign a lot of documents without.
So this has to be a hardware in
Yeah.
There's no VM kind of thing?
No. I mean, maybe in the future, but I mean, one of the reasons too is to get it certified, FIPS certified. You have to do it that way. One reason. We would never get around that. For people who wouldn't want it FIPS, then we would have to do the engineering work. But because otherwise you, the customer, would install a VM, and then the hardware you have it on, you'd have to send it to the federal government, and they would never do that. Yeah. So it's an embedded OS. It's a black box. You get this thing. Our guys work with you on the install, and it's power, network cable, configure it to Active Directory. That's the typical install that we do. And then and then you're up and running. Install the client software is quick if you want to install a client software for signing, because you can just sign on your desktop and then ingest it check it into Alfresco, right? That's not an uncommon. We call that side by side with any system, right? And then when you're thinking of streamlining those workflows where you have 1,000 users doing certain types of stuff, you see how powerful having it's streamlined in the UI. All those little bits add up, like when the red X's and the check boxes, or you can design a seamless workflow pretty quick to collect a signature and avoid that printing out the sign, the scan, and it back in again. So, any other questions, guys? Thank you. Good.